Okay, right. After a million and one setting up shots and everything else, and now you're going to have to wait while I get my cotton and my scissors and my thread and my needle. Here we go. Alright, now I've got to sit down here so that you can see me crutch. Hello, this is Brad's crutch. Righto, so what have I got? I've got my big scissors. Got my needle. Hope you can see that. Got my thread. I've cheated. If you watched the short that I did last night, I got to about here on the, hopefully you can see that, I got to about here on the stitching, and I had that much left over, so I've added another metre or so to that. And then what I do is I take can you see that? Jeez, I hope you can see that. Oh, this is going to be a pain. If you can't see this, I'm going to be terribly upset, because I got that through first try. Okay, so I'll go through the big needle, and then I basically do a fishing knot on it, because all I'm trying to do is keep the thread from pulling. Because it's a wax thread, it's really hard to keep until you pull it down onto something like this bloody here we go. Yeah, until you get it pulled down onto this hessian, where the wax and the thread sort of meld together with the hessian, it doesn't like to. Stay there we go. That's nice and tight. Alright, so how do I do this? Let's get up here. Can you see? Geez, I hope you can see, because I'm pretty sure I set the camera up right. Alright, so I'm up to here. So what I'm going to do is go underneath the purple line. Can you see that? Underneath the purple line there. Go through like that. Go under. Make sure down here, I'm going to get that knot through there. There you go. See, it's pulled apart. That's how much it likes to play up. Let me fix this up. You guys can't see this. This is going to be such a waste of time. I'll give it another knot through. If I can keep that a bit tighter. Doesn't matter if there's daggy bits hanging over, I don't really care about that. All I'm trying to do is get this thing stitched together so that I can go on to the next step of making the chair. But what I've got to do is make sure that under here these are lined up. This is the other half. As you can see, it's two pieces. So what I'm doing is stitching these together, but through this, I can't remember what they call it, the selvage edge. Is it the selvage edge? Geez, I used to make canvas annexes. One of my very first job when I left school was making was working in a factory that made annexes in Strathpine in Brisbane, north side of Brisbane, and about 5 k's up the road was the Chesney caravan factory, and they had a bit of a deal with Chesney. I think that they would do, for annexes, they had a deal with Chesney making annexes for them, but they also Chesney would direct people to them if they were looking for an annex. So yeah, only lasted 3 months. I got bored. Great job to have been in the day, but yeah, I was a little bit sort of, once I knew what was going on and how the process worked and everything, I got a bit bored. I got a bit sick and tired of hand stamping, or foot stamping on a manual machine, stamping eyelets into annex walls and annex roofs and stuff like that. So, yeah. My second job was in a factory that made steel furniture in Sunshine, in the north side of Brisbane there. And they had a government contract, and they made all the government desks, you know, office desks and chairs and school desks and all that sort of thing. And when I started there, I started off as a grinder, grinding all the welds that the welders had done when they welded all the bits and pieces of steel that had been pre-cut. They'd weld them all together, and then I'd come along and I'd be one of half a dozen grinders who would be grinding off the welds and smoothing them down before the pieces of furniture went into the cleaner. So they go into a sodium hypochlorite bath, hot sodium hypochlorite bath, and then get rinsed in hot water, and then they go get dried, and then they go through the powder coating room where all the steel will get powder coated. So anyway, I started off there, and I was there for about a month, and my back was just standing up grinding all day. It was doing me back in. And I went to the foreman and I said, look, I can't do this. I said, it's me holding up the grinder all day is just doing me back in. I said, I can't do this. And he was an old German bloke or Dutch bloke, and he said, okay. So he went off and he talked to the owner, and the owner put me on to, the first job he put me on to was in the acid baths, using the hydraulic lifts. Like, you put all the furniture into these big giant bins that would have been, I don't know, at least 3 metres long by 2 metres wide, and all this bare steel furniture that had just been welded together would be tossed into there, and well, not tossed in but put in, and then you'd lower these big bins into the hypochlorite bath. So I did that for a week, and then they moved me on to cutting steel. So I ended up in charge of receiving all the steel from the trucks and that, operating the crane that lifted them off the semi-trailers in like 6 metre, 8 metre lengths of fucking box steel and stuff like that. And then I'd have that all stacked up, and then I was the main steel cutter. So I had a job. I had to cut X amount of steel at this size, at these sizes and everything, and I had 3 cutting machines, and just went hard at it. It was good fun. Got bored with that too after a while. Got a little bit too much, but yeah, it was fun though. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of hours. So I don't think you guys need to hear me rambling on about my childhood jobs. Had a few, and actually had, first year after I left school, I think I had three different jobs. Yeah, I think so, 3 in 12 months. I'd go into one, learn all about it, then get bored with it, go in there all curious. I don't know what that is, what that's a sign of, but maybe I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I get to know just enough. to know what keeps me happy, and then I get bored with the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to hook this up